Hi everybody, my name is Will Marshall and I work for 826 Boston, a youth writing and publishing center located in Roxbury. Ever since we opened in 2007, we've been supporting students with their college essays. You might have heard of our annual College Essay Boot Camp at Northeastern University, where we match over 100 students with volunteer writing tutors, and together they spend the day working on their college essays. We also run college essay field trips that we call Boot Camp on the Road, where we bring 12th grade ELA classes to the offices of our corporate partners for more one-on-one college essay support. We're excited to be rolling out our first virtual college essay support series, designed for students who want to get a head start on the most challenging part of writing the college essay, which is figuring out what to write about. These videos will introduce you to what the college essay is, why it's important, and what kinds of stories make for a good one. By the end, many of you will have chosen a story that you feel confident and comfortable writing about, and will have outlined how you want to tell it. A few of you might even leave with a draft. Either way, you'll have taken the important first step in writing the college essay, which might be the most overlooked part of the college application process. Also, depending on what platform you're watching this on, you might be prompted with some multiple choice and short answer questions about what you're learning today. Please take your time to answer these, as they'll be reviewed by your teacher. First, it's important to understand the college essay in context of the rest of the college application. So the college essay is just one part of what is known as the Common App, short for Common Application. Believe it or not, but before the Common App, each college and university had their own unique application. So if you wanted to apply to 10 schools, you would fill out 10 different applications. Thankfully, most schools now accept one central application that you can submit to multiple schools. Depending on what high school you go to or what after-school programs you're enrolled in, your guidance counselor, ELA teacher, or somebody else will support you on how to start the Common Application profile at commonapp.org. If you're unsure who to ask for help, please send us an email at collegeessay@826boston.org, and we'll be happy to point you in the right direction. For the Common App, you'll be asked to submit a ton of information, including demographics and contact info, your grades and transcripts, your GPA. Your teachers will write recommendations for you. You'll list out your extracurricular activities, your test scores, and then finally the college essay. Altogether, these will paint a picture for colleges about who you are, and they'll have to make a decision about whether or not you'd succeed at their school. The purpose of the college essay, therefore, is to convince colleges that you have what it takes to succeed and thrive at their school. What's unique about the college essay is that it's often the only opportunity you'll have to tell a college something about yourself in your own words that they wouldn't necessarily find in the rest of your application. It's also an opportunity to help you stick out from thousands of other applicants. There might be other high school students out there with similar grades, similar interests, similar extracurriculars, but if you play your cards right, your college essay will be completely unique to you. It's also unique because it's not an academic paper. It's not thesis-driven, so the style that you'll be writing in is different from what you're used to writing in school. For that reason, I prefer to think of it not as an essay, but as a story. Personally, I find this kind of writing much more fun than academic writing, as you have the freedom to let your personality shine through. And when I talk to admissions officers, the people who will be reading your essays, that's what they say they're looking for, a chance to get to know the real you. The most effective way you can do this is by writing in a voice that's authentic to you. For example, try to resist the urge to use words that you wouldn't normally use, as that might sound fake or inauthentic. We'll spend some time today familiarizing ourselves with the kind of writing that makes college essays effective. We're going to do that by watching a short video featuring 12th graders reading parts of their college essays. These students are from Boston International Newcomers Academy, or BINCA for short, and BINCA is a Boston public school in Dorchester whose entire student body are recent arrivals to the U.S. 826 Boston is lucky enough to have a permanent presence there in the form of a writer's room, which is a place where students can go to receive support on any writing assignment, including college essays. 826 Boston has 5 other writers' rooms in different schools across the city. If you want to learn more about our writers' room program, or if there's a writers' room at your school, you can go to 826boston.org and click on the Programs tab. This video was produced back in 2017, and in the first half of the video, students are reading from the beginning of their college essays, and in the second half, they're reading their endings. As you listen, make some notes about what sticks out to you about their writing, and, if you're prompted to do so, take some time to answer the multiple choice and short answer questions.
My dad Pascual was a warrior for me. I still remember when he left us looking for the American dream.
Back in Cape Verde, me, my mom, and my grandma all slept together in one bed. I like to be in the middle, one hand over my mama and one foot over my vovo. When morning came, my mom would softly tap me on the foot, saying, "Code la banta."
My mom rushed into the house saying, "No está bien para America, no ganha green card visa lottery. We're going to America, we won the green card visa lottery."
I followed the lights of lamps to the kitchen to drink my morning tea. I picked up my heavy bag and hoisted it onto my shoulder. We were leaving my hometown Swat through the mountains in search of Aman, peace.
For 17 birthdays, I only had a part-time father. Seeing me was more of a job than a pleasure, but when you idolize someone, it doesn't matter. I was just happy when he came.
The mud house in Khartoum, Sudan that we lived in was small. While I was laying on my bed in the roofless bedroom, I was fascinated by the endless sky. I thought every star was in its truest place, filling vacant space.
I became deaf, yet could hear. I became mute, yet could talk. I couldn't help my sister when we went to the hospital with my little niece. I couldn't help my brother fill out job applications. I needed to prendi, to learn English.
With the kid heart that there's inside of me, I want to be determined, honest, and pursue my career.
I believe that my personal journey impacted the world by helping them to see that we are all in this together. If I can make this far, so can everyone.
I was lucky to come to America, but I no longer depend on luck. Instead, I make my own decisions.
To me, it is an honor to attend school with students from so many backgrounds, something I would have never experienced back in my country, Pakistan.
I'll be part of the greater movement of women who are breaking the glass ceiling in the STEM field. Not only that, I'll be creating my own movement using my voice to ensure that other girls in Sudan will be given the opportunity to see beyond grade school.
When somebody needs help, I'll do it. If I need to stand up for myself, I'll do it. I'm no longer deaf and mute.
Every family has a story to tell. I hope that 20 years from now, my child will write a college essay, and the story will be about how I was there.
When reflecting on what these students chose to write about in the clips we just heard, I noticed a blend of two elements. They touched on their past experiences, like moving to America or learning English, but they also touched on their future goals, both personal and professional. For example, one student writes about her desire to be part of a movement of women breaking into the STEM field, while the other writes about her personal goal to be determined, honest, and pursue her career. Most, if not all, successful college essays blend these two elements and connect them with a story. Most of the time, students will paint a picture about how their past experiences have influenced or affected what their future goals are. Something that stood out to me about how these students told their stories is just how much detail there is. There are much simpler ways to say all these sentences. The first student, he could have just written, "I went downstairs, took my bag, and went outside." But by adding in those details of following the lights of lamps, drinking his tea, hoisting his heavy bag onto his shoulder. All those help his story stick out. And often that's the key to making your essay memorable and to help you stick out as a college applicant is by telling your story in terms that only you could. When figuring out what to write about, I want to remind you that your stories don't have to be sad, dramatic, or really big moments in your life. I've read really great college essays about learning how to dance, learning how to drive, or participating in a club or a sport. I think often there's an unspoken assumption that you have to write about something monumental, the loss of a loved one, or the relationship with a family member, or how your family has struggled, for example. But what makes a college essay effective is how you tell the story. So if you don't feel comfortable writing about something like that, choose something else. No matter what you choose to write about, there are ways to make it a good, compelling college essay. And while it doesn't have to be sad, dramatic, or big, it does, however, have to be unique, impactful, and revealing. And I'm going to unpack these now in some more detail. I find it helpful to ask 3 questions to figure out whether or not it fits these 3 criteria. So first, is this a story that only I could tell? As I was mentioning, what makes a story unique is in the way that it's told. Lots of students write about their immigration stories. Lots of students write about their experience playing a sport or an instrument. But that doesn't mean that those topics aren't unique. If you write about something in enough detail, it will set your story apart from others with similar experiences. The next question I ask is, has what I'm writing about impacted me? Meaning, has it changed, affected, or influenced me somehow? The last and probably most important question you should ask yourself when brainstorming a topic is, does this story have the potential to show the reader, who in this case are colleges, something positive about me? This last criterion, revealing, is worth spending a little bit more time on. So remember, the purpose of the college essay is to convince whoever that is reading it that you would succeed and contribute positively to their school. So in order to write an effective college essay, you need to ask yourself what you want them to learn about you by reading it. There are lots of potential answers to this question, but basically it should reveal some sort of positive personal quality about you. I've included some examples of personal qualities here, but really it could be anything. Next, we're going to read an essay by former 12th grader from the Margarita Munoz Academy in Jamaica Plain. I'll read it aloud, and let's see if we can determine what exactly it reveals about the author, as well as what makes it unique and impactful. I felt like I didn't fit in even before he approached me. After pulling back my hair, I scrubbed my hands under the faucet's warm water and rinsed them, looking up to see if there were any paper towels. It was 7 a.m. on Sunday, and I was putting on gloves to make sandwiches at Dunkin' Donuts. A new workmate walked in and introduced himself to the crew. He met my eyes and frowned as he extended his hand to introduce himself. "Where are you from?" he asked. I hesitated. The words wanted to spill out of my mouth, but I was used to people asking my name instead of my nationality. "I'm Dominican," I mumbled, not knowing what to expect. "Oh shoot, I better watch out. Dominican girls are dangerous," he chuckled. I found myself for the first time ashamed of the land that raised me. Walking down the street in Herrera, Dominican Republic, I witnessed noisy, smoky motorcycles driving close to the sidewalks. I watched people selling fruits and vegetables, shouting prices and smiling to attract customers. There were single mothers holding their children's hands who were wearing backpacks 3 inches bigger than their backs. There was no rush to be on time. Here in the United States, I witnessed crowds walking quickly down the stairs of the train station, looking at their phones. I heard friends talking to one another, but it just sounded like mumbling and muttering. Everyone was in a rush. I saw no smiles. I was not in the Dominican Republic anymore. People didn't believe where I actually was from. "You aren't Dominican. Dominican kids don't care about school," they would say. I heard variations of that phrase so many times. "You're Dominican, you must dance. You like pop music? You're Dominican, that's weird." Dominicans this, Dominicans that, over and over again. I did not understand why they were so surprised. I had known many Dominicans with passion, charisma, and determination. I had known people with so much to give to the world, but who were trapped in the poverty of my native country. Some people said that I was the only, quote, educated Dominican they'd ever met. Even though we may not be educated, we are fighting to provide a better life for ourselves. One day at dinner, I told my dad about some of these experiences. He leaned in across the table, stared at me, and said, "That's why you were born in the Dominican Republic, so you can prove them wrong. Today, I understand that instead of feeling ashamed, I should be proud. I know that stereotypes are misunderstood. For example, when we speak loudly, it isn't because we weren't taught manners. Rather, it is so that people can stop and listen to what we have to say. When we fight, it's not because we were taught to solve problems with violence, but because we were taught to stand up for ourselves and defend at all costs what belongs to us." In June 2017, I will graduate from high school and go to college in the fall. I hope to continue to defy the stereotypes. I shall show the world that I, like many Dominicans, are strong and able to achieve my dreams. I may be working at Dunkin' Donuts now, but I know one day I will pull back my hair and enter the morgue to conduct a DNA test, or pull back my hair to put on a wig to perform a play. I am ready to show people that I am much more than the boxes society puts me in. So let's take a minute to measure this essay against our 3 criteria. First, I'd like to point out that this is a great example of an essay that doesn't rely on a sad or dramatic or big moment to be effective. She tells a compelling story by weaving together everyday interactions and her reflections about them. So what makes the story unique? She chooses moments in her life to flesh out into scenes with dialogue and detail. This includes the opening scene at Dunkin' Donuts that introduces us to her experiences encountering stereotypes. She also paints a beautiful picture of how different life is in the US versus in the DR in her second paragraph. So all these specifics make the story completely unique to her. She also writes about an impactful conversation that she had with her father that allowed her to think differently about stereotypes and really motivated her, as she says in her last paragraph, to prove people wrong. And what does it reveal about her? It reveals that she's determined, that she's proud, and throughout the essay, I think she also reveals that she's really thoughtful. She thinks critically about her experiences, how they make her feel, and how they inspire her and her future goals. In our next video, I'll introduce the 7 prompts that the college essay is in response to, and give you some brainstorming tips on how to get the ideas flowing. And then hopefully by the end of the video, you'll have some ideas on what you'd like to write about for your college essay. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, if you have any questions or would like additional resources to help you get a head start on your college essay, please email collegeessay@826boston.org and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks a lot.